Welcome to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast, where every week, Kirsten and Jeanne dive into the essential topics to fuel your business growth. From copywriting to course creation, mindset to video marketing, they've got you covered. Tune in for expert guest interviews on all things marketing and business, and learn how to work on your business, not just in it. So, get ready to unlock your business potential and take it to the next level.
Welcome, everyone, to our newest episode. We're thrilled to have you here, and we are thrilled to introduce our guest today. She is amazing, and we know that you're going to love her. She's full of tips on how to look good on camera. So her name is Michelle Bouse from Michelle Bouse Beauty, and she has actually been a Hollywood beauty expert and now living in Southwest Florida. So welcome, Michelle. We can't wait to hear all of your tips today.
Thank you so much for having me. I love sharing tips and talking beauty.
So we're really excited about having you become our beauty girl and providing tips for us and for our audience on how to look good on camera, because I know that every platform wants us to be on camera. Even podcasts are going more and more to video. So we want to help people become confident on camera. And I know you have some great tips for that. So I'm excited to hear what you have to share with us today.
Yes, I'm so excited to talk about this. This is something everywhere I go, people ask me when they hear I do makeup, they're like, I need some tips. What can you fix? And a lot of people are so uncomfortable nowadays getting on camera. So I tell them, just do it. And then I can have a few tips of maybe what not to do and what would look great. And really, I love talking to anybody over 40. You have the TikTok videos. So that's a whole nother podcast for us to talk about. We don't really want to use those as our guide. So as we age, my philosophy is less is more. So you go on camera. When I worked in Hollywood, we started going into high def, and high def shows a lot more than the old fashioned film. So now that we're on our iPhones, cell phones, Androids, how good are those cameras? So I always tell everybody, lighting, you guys know, anybody over 40, bright light, bright window is your friend. And blending is really the key when you're these are tips that I give people for in person, if they're going to an event, and on camera. So they work good for anybody that's, we'll say, over 30. It's amazing what AI, and it was Photoshop when I first started doing makeup, because everybody would go in and touch up the photos in Photoshop. And now it's photos that are being touched up by AI. So I want to tell everybody, a lot of the things that you're seeing, even in video and especially in photographs, are not necessarily what is real and what is actually coming from the camera on the photographer or the camera on the recorder. So how can we make ourselves look flawlessly natural and real, right?
I think the reason why video connects with people is because of the fact that they get to know you. And so I think the one good thing about video is people do feel like they get to know you. They learn your mannerisms and how you talk. There's only so much you can do to look different on video. And so I think that's what builds the know and trust, is the fact that you're not airbrushed to perfection.
I used to airbrush, and the airbrush really just body makeup and leg makeup. We can do a whole segment on how to do that for real life. I have some great pics, but it's not real. It's covered and it's not natural. We all have flaws. And I always tell everybody that's what makes you beautiful, because we're not all the same. Your flaws are what make you unique. I've done really well in social media. I started in social media before video was a thing. And when I could get on camera and people would see my crazy curly hair, silly Jersey girl personality, really related to me. And it was all about like, know, and trust. Well, when I was in my 30s, nobody believed I could do skincare or makeup for anybody in their 50s or 60s. They didn't believe me. But a great example of really getting to know somebody and being authentic on camera is Jennifer Garner. She was one of my clients, and everybody always asks me, if you follow her on Instagram, her personality of what she does, the goofiness that she does, sometimes she's with no makeup. She's never over made up, but that is her. She is exactly like that. She's the perfect example of transferring and just being true and authentic. And really, I think that is really beautiful. That's beauty. We all know beauty comes from within. So when I say shine and glitter, and we're talking about all these things that we don't want to shine and be greasy on camera, you want to shine and let your personality come through on camera. And that's really important. But there's a few beauty tips that I can give you to help too.
So how do we avoid being shiny on camera?
So first, I have 3 points. So the first one is, let's talk real quick about my favorite friend, glitter. We all want to sparkle and shine, but how do both of you feel about glitter? Can you just give me, like, when would you wear glitter? So glitter in the hair is fun, and glitter on the face is a whole different thing. So I love the tinsel in the hair. That was a trend in LA a few years ago. But when you do glitter on the face, what it does is, if you're going to a costume party, or if you have a game that you're going to, something very novelty driven, an event in person, it can totally work. I do ballroom dancing. Glitter is great on stage, far away on a face. But when you're on camera, you're in a little box and it is very reflective. So specifically, we want to stay away from anything. If you look at a product and flakes of glitter in it, you don't want to use it if you're going on camera. I tell a lot of brides want glitter when they get married. And what happens, which is similar on camera, but you're not freezing the frame, when you actually take a photo of yourself with glitter on, you get black dots because the reflection catches the light for that specific moment. So you get all this freckling and it just isn't flattering. So we want to keep the glitter for in-person special events, but keep in mind, if you're being photographed, you don't want to do that either. But on camera, we want to avoid sparkle and we don't want to use frosted products. It's grandma's lipstick and the primer eyeshadows that when you put it on your hand, it looks pearl and then some. So if you can do a test to see if it is frosted. We want to stay away from that because the reflection is just too great and it makes you look glossy, like shiny, like greasy. But if you put it on the back of your hand and look at it, it emphasizes all of the lines and creases and wrinkles. And we don't want to emphasize that. We want to diffuse away from that. So as we age, you do not want to use frosted. If your lips are very wrinkly, you don't want to use a frosted lipstick. Everybody wants to put frosted on their eyes, and I tell them no frosted anything anywhere near your eyes because it'll just bring out all the wrinkles and the creases. So what we want to do is we want to use another product, which I absolutely love, which is an illuminizer that will deflect and reflect the light. And it smooths and gives the illusion that all those wrinkles don't exist.
So are they actually called Illuminizer if we went to purchase something?
They actually are. They're called illuminizers now. For a few years, they've been doing some creams only because we're talking about it. I can't think of the name that they were using a few years ago. But illuminizers, when you look at them, again, no sparkle. It has a bit of a shimmer. I tell everybody, we used to talk about, how do you know you don't want to put eyeshadow on that's matte? You don't want to use frost. So what do you use? Well, I used to go with just MAC has a variety of shades, and that was the makeup artist line that we used. So I would say pick up a shadow and look at it. Now, I definitely recommend matte shadows for anybody over 30, but I like to mix a few different textures in with it. So something that has a little bit of a shimmer, not a gloss or a frost, a shimmer. So you look at it and it just twinkles a little bit. It doesn't have a pearlescence to it, but it twinkles. I always tell everybody I'm from New Jersey, like it looks like snow has just fallen, but it doesn't have any pieces of glitter. So you want something that has maybe just a teeny pop out from the matte. That's what an illuminizer looks like.
And is it something you put under your makeup or is it something you put on top? Is it colored? I know nothing.
So that is a great question. And the answer is yes to all of it. So in makeup, everything goes, right? So it's baking a cake. It's like painting on a canvas. There are no rules to makeup. I can tell you what I like best, but you can do anything. So a lot of the illuminizers, so you have a few different products, and I want to talk about primers after we talk about the illuminizers too, but you have creams, you have liquids, and you have powders. Usually those are what they come in. So you have a stick that may come as a cream. You would actually so when you're doing your makeup, I tell everybody you want to layer creams on top of creams and powder on top of powder. And powder's the last thing to go on your face. Because if you try to put cream over powder, it's going to get all crumply. And remember, my holy grail of makeup, and especially makeup for video, blend everything, find products that have a lot of pigment. You don't need a lot of product. You need good coverage and the right product, and blend it. Blend no lines anywhere. Okay. So an illuminizer, if you have bad eyesight, over 50, my eyes now, I'm like, I need my glasses. I can't really see. How can I do my eyes with glasses? The illuminizer, when it's put in the right place, it will actually blend everything for you. So my answer to that is if it's a liquid, it goes on first, but you're going to lose a little bit of the effect. I like the creams or the powders that you put on last because it is your final blend. But there are a lot of different types of illuminizers. And I tell everybody, remember, it's going to add a little sheen. I don't know if you can see on my face, on my cheek area, I put a illuminizer right here. So it looks dewy. It doesn't look greasy. It doesn't look shiny, but I have some pigmentation and I cover it, but then I put an illuminizer on it and it diffuses it. So if you have any imperfections that you don't like, an illuminizer can work great, but you don't want to, if you put it all over your face, I don't know what it would look like. Not good. When you use Illuminizer, you really want to target the areas that you want to diffuse and bring out. So I tell everybody 2 fingers under your eye, right where your eyelashes are. You don't want to put anything under there. You've tried so hard to conceal and lighten and cover all that's under our eyes. We want to not put any additional product on there. But when you go to your cheekbone, if you smile, if you guys tap your cheekbone right now, you can feel where it sticks out. And if you smile, you have your apple, and then you can feel it sticks out all the way to your ear, right? The top, the kind of middle of your ear. That's where you want to put your blush. And the Illuminizer just goes on the first quarter of that with a nice big brush. So it would be 3 fingers is where like the brush you want to use. And that's where you're going to put it right in the front of like the apples to the middle of your eye. That's where I suggest putting Illuminizer always and forever. And you can blend the top of your cheek over out to your ears. You can also, if you put it down your nose, you're going to get a lightening effect. If you put it on your chin, it's also going to give a lightening effect, but you might look a little greasy. So I tell people if you get shiny, don't put it on your nose. You can also put it on the middle of your forehead. But if you do tend to get oily, don't put it on your forehead or your chin because it will just emphasize, once you start getting oily, it'll emphasize that. So I love using it on my décolleté, which is our chest area, our chest bones or the collarbones. And I really love the last step in blending out my blush because a lot of people are afraid of blush, especially on camera. They're like, no, I'm red. I don't want to wear anything. It's going to be too red on camera. Put the blush on. I usually blend it with my fingers. And the last thing that I do is I take my Illuminizer and I just lightly brush it over. I tap it off before I swipe it, brush it in the beginning, and it blends all my cheekbone area. And then it gives you this beautiful dewy and illumina diffused look on your cheek. And I really believe that using an Illuminizer the right way is so youthful looking.
Now, earlier you mentioned primer. Tell us about primer and who should use it and where we should use it.
So primer is great for anyone over 30. There's a primer that I suggest for oily skin. It's more of a gel or a clear, thicker product. You want to put that on clean skin after your moisturizer before you start your makeup because it actually acts as a barrier and it holds the oil underneath it. It's great in warmer climates. And so anybody that's oily, I've had great results from that, and it goes on like butter. If you're dry, a primer that is more of a cream or I want to say like a silicone base, I know that it has a little bit of like butter feel to it. A cream or something that has a little bit of even a color goes and it fills in the lines. So it settles into the fine lines and wrinkles. So it can actually give you a flatter surface to put your makeup on, which is fun. Then if anybody has discoloration, any product that has a little bit of a concealer or a color in it, I love using tinted moisturizers for this, that you can use it as a primer. And it just takes away, it holds the color that's under the skin. A lot of people have redness. A lot of people have darkness. A lot of us has pigmentation. The primers that have a little bit of a neutral undertone, or you can see that it's like camouflage, that works great. In those areas, you can do spot treatment or all over the face. A lot of people using it on their eyelids to just get that. I always tell everybody, you're going to be a canvas. So you want to start with no color. You want to get all of the lines and wrinkles of the canvas nice and taut. And then you can do whatever you want on top of it.
Perfect. So we know we've got to use primer, nothing glittery or shiny, but we do want to use an Illuminizer. So we want to have some reflective light and diffuse and blend everything for us.
The Illuminizer is the secret sauce to when people say, why does your skin look so good, Michelle? It's because I have Illuminizer and I place it in the right spot. Another, I'm going to blow your mind now too. You can also do a primer that has an Illuminizer in it, and that would go under. So that would be, it's usually a liquid and it has a little bit of an iridescence to it. So it's a nice base for your face to start your makeup with. And sometimes if you have a lighter base, you can see a little bit of the luminescence that comes through. If you put it on top, you can just put it in those areas and blend it out after. So if anybody has questions, they can always reach out to me. I just have so much information.
Awesome. Michelle, speaking of that, how would you like people to reach out to you? What is your website address?
So my website is my name. It's michellebouse.com. And I'm everywhere on social media at the same. So I have 2 L's in my name, and I'm at Michelle Bouse everywhere on social media. I make it really easy to get in touch with me. A lot of people are like, but you worked in Hollywood and you worked on celebrities. I love talking to everybody. So please don't hesitate to reach out and ask me any questions about beauty, makeup, skincare, or just being happy in life.
Because I met Michelle a few weeks ago and she was amazing and warm and friendly. And just as you hear her here.
Very happy. Yeah, we'll put your information in the show notes below. And we're also going to have you back because I think there's so many awesome tips that you can give people to help them become more and more confident and comfortable on camera.
I love answering questions. So if anybody has a specific question, they're struggling with something, please send it in. I'll answer questions. I love questions. And I would just love to say, remember how you feel is what comes across on camera as well. So yes, this is makeup and this is great. And I can give you tips on that. But if you're having fun and you're being yourself and you're being true to who you are, people are going to love seeing you on camera.
I love that. She also has a free resource. It's called DIY Beauty Hacks. And we are going to put a link to that in the show notes. So Michelle, it is always a pleasure to see you. And thank you so much for chatting with us today and for enlightening our listeners and our viewers on makeup tips. I know I've learned a ton.
Anytime. I'm a wealth of information and I love to share. Thank you both so much for having me on.
Thanks for listening to the Six Figure Business Mastery Podcast. If you enjoyed listening to this episode and you are ready to leverage video marketing on all online platforms, or maybe even start your own video podcast, then you need to check out the Done For You and Done With You program at themarketingvaadvantage.com and take your business to the next level.